What resources have you found useful for helping to understand neurodiversity? In my own experience, I don't feel like we test often enough for that. We talk about user personas, but it can be very difficult to put yourself in the shoes of someone who is, for example, dyslexic.
Yeah. Yeah. So neurodiversity is a conversation that absolutely should be had when it comes to our user base and who we're delivering technology to, but also even people who are building it. And the last year or so, I've been working really extensively with accessibility and figuring out ways to approach it that are implemented in the business. And this is something that usually is deprioritized among other deliverables within your product. And so I would say the resources that have helped me the most are the ability to storytell, to be completely honest. Like I was sitting there and I was thinking as you were reading this question about, okay, what resource would it be? One, we can be advocates for change, right? And so recognizing your position as a tester and being able to advocate for quality, you can be that person who educates themselves on aspects of neurodiversity, right? How are other people utilizing this? Or what are other people's needs as they approach our product? And then as you go to the table and you are fending for whatever your findings are, building a story out of that, that's really going to help people tie that back to logic, right? So either recognizing, okay, well, look at your mom, right? Your mom uses a font that's larger than any other person in the family on their phone. And so if we're building a product where the font is this small, is your own mom going to be able to use it, right? Helping your organization understand that a person that's directly attached to you uses a larger font than what we're offering, or we're testing this on a smaller viewport, or whatever the condition is, and saying, well, my mother represents this population of the user base. And if this population is being affected by this, then that's a pretty big number when it comes to being able to make this accessible for everyone. Making that a story for them to be able to understand its impact, right? Because a lot of times decisions come down to impact. Who is this impacting? What kind of revenue are we losing or gaining from this, et cetera? Sometimes it's a small number, but I think oftentimes when it comes to neurodiversity, we're not actually looking at those numbers we're losing because we don't have an eye for them. So maybe being able to channel into that by using, I use WebAIM all the time. There's a number of different tools through that website that you can start figuring out what accessibility needs are necessary. Also being more involved in groups that have conversations around it. I know Sal Freudenberg is a #1 source for me when I have questions around neurodiversity. And there's a conversation that needs to be had around it. I approach her and I'm like, hey, listen, I have this situation, how would you? Or what are you doing for this? Or what have you taught? And just gaining that collective knowledge of it to be able to bring that back to the organization and then to story tell in the way that makes it impactful or to see the vision, it will be really great resource for any organization.